In early 2025, the Trump administration unveiled sweeping changes to U.S. immigration rules through a series of high-profile executive orders. These announcements, made from the heart of Washington, D.C., signaled a new era for immigration policy in America, one that would have far-reaching consequences for millions of people both inside and outside the country. The new policies dramatically tightened security and enforcement, affecting nearly every aspect of the immigration system, from green cards and work visas to asylum applications and refugee admissions. The administration's approach is comprehensive, touching on border security, legal immigration pathways, and even the criteria for humanitarian relief. For families hoping to reunite or build a life in the U.S., the requirements for living and working here are now much tougher. Those seeking green cards through family sponsorship face stricter income thresholds, more extensive background checks, and longer waiting periods. Even minor paperwork errors can now result in denials or lengthy delays, adding to the anxiety and uncertainty. The administration claims these stricter rules are necessary to protect the country, arguing that they will prevent abuse of the system and ensure that only those who meet the highest standards are allowed to stay. Officials emphasize national security and economic stability as the driving forces behind these changes, promising a safer and more orderly immigration process. For many immigrants and their families, however, this marks the start of a new, uncertain chapter in their American journey. The fear of separation, the stress of navigating complex legal requirements, and the emotional toll of waiting for decisions have all intensified. The changes impact eligibility for green cards, the refugee program, and more, forcing immigrants, employers, and legal professionals to quickly adapt. Businesses that rely on skilled foreign workers must now navigate additional hurdles, while refugees and asylum seekers face higher bars for entry and stricter scrutiny of their claims. Understanding these new rules is now crucial for anyone hoping to stay, work, or bring loved ones to the U.S. Legal experts are in high demand, as individuals and families seek guidance on how to comply with the new regulations and avoid costly mistakes. This isn't just a minor adjustment, it's a fundamental shift in America's approach to immigration. The landscape has changed overnight, and the effects are being felt in communities across the nation, from bustling cities to small towns. Enforcement is now the top priority, making the process more challenging at every stage. Border Patrol agents and immigration officers have been given expanded authority, and there is a renewed focus on detaining and deporting those who fall out of status or violate the new rules. From applying for a visa to seeking citizenship, the journey is now filled with new risks and complications. Every step requires careful planning, thorough documentation, and a clear understanding of the evolving legal landscape. The path forward is more complex than ever before. For those determined to make America their home, resilience, patience, and expert guidance have become essential tools for navigating this new reality. A central theme of the 2025 immigration overhaul is heightened national security. Every applicant for an immigration benefit now faces more intense vetting and background checks. USCIS has been ordered to implement enhanced security measures to prevent fraud and protect the system's integrity. Applicants should expect longer interviews, more questions, and requests for extensive documentation. These tougher standards apply to everyone, including those with pending cases. The burden of proof is higher. Missing information or inconsistencies can now derail an application. The government is signaling zero tolerance for errors or gaps in an applicant's history. For many, the process has become even more daunting and stressful. One of the most dramatic and unsettling changes in U.S. immigration policy is that green card applicants who lack legal status now face an immediate and very real risk of deportation. For many, the simple act of seeking lawful permanent residency, a process that once offered hope, has become a source of deep anxiety and fear. In the past, those waiting for green cards, especially through marriage to a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, were generally protected from removal, unless they committed serious crimes or posed a threat to public safety. This allowed families to plan for their future together, confident that their applications would not put them in jeopardy. Now, however, simply submitting an application can trigger removal proceedings if your temporary status has expired, even if you are otherwise eligible for a green card. This means that a missed deadline or a minor paperwork error can have devastating consequences, leading to possible separation from loved ones. This new policy impacts both new applicants and those with pending cases, spreading fear and uncertainty among thousands of families who once felt secure. Many are left wondering if pursuing legal status is worth the risk. The safety net that once protected those whose visas expired during the lengthy processing period is now gone, leaving families exposed and vulnerable. As a result, many eligible immigrants may now avoid applying altogether, terrified that a single mistake could lead to separation from their families and the loss of everything they've built in the U.S. The process, which was once seen as a clear path to stability and belonging, is now fraught with danger and uncertainty at every turn. Even those who follow every rule can find themselves at risk. With green card wait times stretching for months or even years, minor paperwork lapses or expired documents can now become grounds for deportation, turning small errors into life-altering crises. Families are now forced to make an impossible choice: live in the shadows, avoiding the legal process, or risk everything by stepping forward and applying, not knowing what the outcome will be. The stakes for family-based immigration have never been higher. For many, the dream of building a life together in America now comes with unprecedented risks and heartbreaking uncertainty. Family-based immigration, a common path to green cards, is now much riskier. Over 2 million I-130 petitions are already stuck in backlogs, and the new rules add more hurdles. Long waits mean many applicants' visas expire, exposing them to deportation under stricter enforcement. What was once a reliable process for families is now filled with uncertainty and risk. Critics argue this policy unfairly punishes those stuck in bureaucratic delays. Dreamers and others with temporary protections face even fewer options for permanent residency. The system's inefficiency is now a liability for applicants. Every day in limbo increases the risk of separation. The waiting game has become a high-stakes gamble for families. The dream of staying together in the U.S. is now more fragile than ever. The 2025 executive orders have reshaped asylum and refugee programs to align with new security priorities. Stricter requirements and more intense screening mean fewer refugees will be admitted. The asylum process is now harder, with higher standards and faster denials. These changes aim to control the flow of migrants and discourage weak or fraudulent claims. Vulnerable people fleeing violence face a narrower, tougher path to safety. The U.S. is sending a clear message: protection is now harder to obtain. For many, the door to refuge in America is closing. The administration has declared a national emergency to ramp up border security and interior enforcement. More funding is going to border walls and surveillance technology. Inside the country, aggressive enforcement means any interaction with immigration agencies carries higher risks. The new rule allows USCIS to start removal proceedings for certain green card applicants. The strategy is to make living without legal status increasingly difficult. This double focus, at the border and within, signals a comprehensive crackdown. Fear of detention and deportation now affects undocumented immigrants everywhere. The environment for those without papers is more hostile than ever. The 2025 executive orders are shaking the very foundation of what it means to be a citizen in America. These new directives challenge core ideas about citizenship and legal status that have defined the nation for generations, sparking intense debate and uncertainty across the country. At the center of this controversy is birthright citizenship, a principle enshrined in the 14th Amendment, which has long granted citizenship to nearly everyone born on U.S. soil, regardless of their parents' status. The administration is now openly questioning this foundational right, raising the possibility that some children born in America may no longer be recognized as citizens. If birthright citizenship is limited or revoked, it would represent a seismic shift in U.S. law and society, altering the lives of countless families and changing the nation's demographic landscape for generations to come. Simultaneously, new policies are making it significantly harder for immigrants to obtain or maintain legal status. The process is becoming more complex, with stricter requirements and increased scrutiny at every step. For green card applicants, the risk of deportation has grown, creating a climate of fear and instability. Families who once felt secure now face the possibility of separation or removal from the only home they've ever known. These sweeping moves are designed to create a more exclusive definition of who belongs in America, narrowing the path to citizenship and legal residency. The legal framework that has shaped immigration and citizenship for decades is being rewritten, with new rules and interpretations replacing long-standing traditions and protections. The debate over citizenship and belonging is now front and center, striking at the very heart of America's identity. Communities are divided, with passionate voices on all sides arguing about what it truly means to be American. For millions of families, the future feels more uncertain than ever. The stakes are not just personal, they are generational, affecting children, parents, and grandparents alike, and shaping the nation's future for years to come. As these changes unfold, the nation is being forced to reconsider what it means to be American, and who truly belongs within its borders. The answers to these questions will define the next chapter of the American story. The 2025 changes have major consequences for immigrants and the employers who rely on them. For families, the risk of deportation and stricter vetting make legal status harder to achieve. Employers face new hurdles in hiring and sponsoring foreign workers, with more delays and uncertainty. Industries from tech to agriculture could see labor shortages and higher costs. Navigating the new system requires more time, money, and legal expertise. Mistakes or lapses in status now carry severe consequences. Everyone involved must be more cautious and informed than ever before. The new reality is tougher for millions living and working in the U.S. The 2025 immigration landscape is more challenging and unforgiving than ever. The risk of deportation now shadows even routine applications. Careful planning and professional legal advice are essential. Small mistakes can have devastating consequences. Staying informed and proactive is critical. Policies can change quickly. Applicants must understand their status and requirements at all times. The new system is less forgiving, with enforcement as the top priority. For families, employers, and individuals, the stakes are higher than ever. Proceed with caution. The road ahead is uncertain and preparation is key.